Hey y'all, whether it's morning, evening, or afternoon, I'm just glad that you guys had decided to vibe with E. Yes, the one and only E. Before I get into the nitty gritty, I just want to say happy International Women's Month to all my women out there, especially my black women. And also happy National Social Workers Month to all my social workers out there and social workers that's getting them degrees. Me. Including me. Oh my gosh, like March really is like one of those months that I would say my favorite due to like being International Women's Month, and then learning that this month is also dedicated to social workers as well. It just puts the icing on the cake for me. Like, oh my gosh, like it just turns me up because it's like, bro, that is amazing. Like, shout out to us. Like, clap on that one. Y'all lucky I didn't have the sound effects one because I need to charge the soundboard. But it's something y'all gonna hear a real round of applause because it's not easy. Like, it's not easy being a social worker. I'm gonna say this, a social worker in training, because I was like, when I first got my acceptance letter, being a social worker in training, it's not easy. Right now, the process of me, like, you know, being about to have an internship and stuff too, it's not easy. So shout out to all you social workers out there that is getting it, that's doing it, getting to the bag, you know, doing everything you can for your community, the youth, everything out there, whatever field you're in impacted with social work. Shout out to you because baby, it's not easy, and I applaud you, and I cannot wait to be in the same shoes with y'all and also maybe connect with y'all as well. But without further ado, since I got into it a little bit, y'all know the drill. And if you don't know, I want you guys to sit back, relax, enjoy the show. Whether you want to go, on the move, whatever the case may be, just sit back, relax, and enjoy hearing my voice. And if you're new here, welcome. I hope all is well with you. And if you're not new to this but true to this, hey y'all, what's up, what's poppin'? I hope everything is going well so far with y'all. All of y'all as well. So let's get into what's today's vibe of the day. I think I probably gave it away a little bit, but I probably didn't. But oh well. Today's vibe of the day is Women's Worth. Yes. In honor of International Women's Month, I will be every Wednesday going over a topic that's impacted with a woman because it is, you know, National Women's Month. And I might also talk about social work as well a little bit deeper. I'm thinking probably like on the day of, like you say, it's National Social Work Day. I think it's the 11th, so that's a Monday. So that 13th may be dedicated to Social Work Day. I don't know. I gotta dig a little deeper, but I'm gonna talk about that too. But in honor of, you know, International Women's Month, I'm gonna be talking about my black women. Yes, because if you look at your history, if you go back in your history, boy, our ancestors and all them, they did a lot, especially when it comes to International Women's Month. Y'all, I had to do some digging, some research, had to like really dig and think back on when I had a class on Intro to Women's Studies, like in community college at that. And that class was phenomenal. Shout out to the professor, I forgot her name, but she's at CCBC Essex. But that class was so like amazing. It was an eye opener, and I was free to talk how I wanted to talk because, hey, I'm in a class full of women from all different races. So I was able to speak my piece. You know, at times we couldn't like understand or go eye to eye when it came to certain stuff, but then sometimes like we learning, you learning from me, I'm learning from you. So it's just a learning experience all around the board. And I wasn't in that class when March came around, but we did talk about, you know, International Women's Month, stuff like that, because like a lot of things had happened. A lot of people were involved when it came to that month, especially within the black community, and a lot of people do not pay attention to, which is kind of messed up. But I'm going to overall give you the point of like women's worth and how they impact so much within International Women's Month. So let's get into it. Like, there are so many aspects. I always, that's that one is a word, like I just don't know. Like there are many aspects to black women's worth, including their resistance, intelligence, creativity, and them as a human. Like, come on now, like, kudos to us. Their dignity and their values to extend beyond their achievements and, contribute is like career. Yeah, I was just so excited. Like, I just cannot get my words out. Their strength and grace within which black women navigated has been a very big aspect when it comes to worth, especially when it comes to symptomatic society and people. Like, as well as their capability to empower, inspire, lead, and achieve to change. It lies in their unwaveringly, communication to justice, equal, and community development. Like, there was no doubt that black women could not contribute to society and value everything that they can, and it both shape their lives, their own lives, and enrich the society as well as a whole. Like, it's nothing I feel like a black woman can't do, but at times it's like we gotta sit back sometimes and just really, like, I wouldn't say chill, because sometimes it's like, for a black woman, a young black woman like me, I'm young, people are like, you just need to chill. I was like, I can't chill. Like, I don't know what chill is. The only time I know chill is when it's time for me to wind down, or if I'm finished, with my business, doing have stuff in my business, or my job, or maybe for school. Like, that's the only time I know when to chill. Just chilling in reality, just in general sometimes, no. So it's like a lot of people do not understand that when it comes to us black women contribute to a lot in history. We do not get a lot of recognition like other races does, because they look at us as nothing. They look at us like, just another black woman or women trying to get involved in something but doesn't have anything to do with them. And when I did my history and as a social work major too, learned some things about certain amazing women that's involved with helping, International Women's Month, along with just helping in general within my major. It's a lot of amazing black women out here that did a lot for us, and God bless their souls, because it's not easy. Especially today, still, I feel like within this day and age, when it comes to a woman's worth, especially a black woman's worth, I feel like at times we get taken for granted when it comes to our worth, because at times people do not understand how it is to be black, especially when it comes to the things that we care for that impacts with our worth. They think is a joke when it's not. It's like building something from scratch and trying to, put it out there to the universe and the world, whatever y'all want to consider. And then once you have the, the time to display your blueprint, and people are looking at you like you're a joke, because at times we are still systemized by our fucking race. I said I wasn't gonna cuss y'all today, but one or two few cuss words might come out, but y'all know how this goes, and if not, y'all, I'm sorry. But I just feel like it is so hard for us black women to be at times accepted for the things that we do. Because on the positive side, because there's women out here that's really busting their ass to get to a point in their life where, they want nothing but good vibes, peace of blessings, things like that. And then they be always trying to label us as, nothing. And that just makes me so mad, because, like, you need to do your research. You need to open a book. You need to really, understand, because throughout the highlighting of the unique challenges women of color experience worldwide and advocating for, intersexual feminist black women played an important role in shaping and influencing International Women's Month. Like the work of a black woman enriching the discourse on women's rights through their achievements, scholarships, and leaderships on issues such as racism and gender equality, like reproductive justice and economics empowerment. Like, as a result of that, feminism is understood now as a movement that must be addressed, inserting forms of, opportunities when it comes to women. Now, it's crazy that now that we're getting the recognition that we are, because when it comes to feminists, when it comes to us at times, so that's another thing I just don't understand. Like, yes, women are feminists, but it's like we can be at times masculine when it comes to things, because you know the saying, a man can't do what a woman can do, and a woman can't do what a man can do. I think that when it comes to certain stuff, it should not be like sex should not always have to be involved. Like when it comes to what it is, like when it comes to jobs, especially like the careers, like if a woman want to be out there in the field when it comes to like construction and, you know, doing things like that, getting her hands dirty, why not? I just feel like those stereotypes at times took a toll on a lot of things when it comes to us women, especially still to this day. Like, yeah, we're getting the recognition somewhat now, but it's still like back then these women really fought for these rights, these main ideas of what we're worth, and this is why we're worth it. And I'm gonna show you better than I can tell you, because I love history, especially when it comes to African American history. If it has nothing to do with my people, I don't want to hear it. I don't. People be like, that's so crazy biased. I mean, it's not, because it's like, for example, that's like a black person going to a PWI. All you're going to hear about is Caucasian history. You're not going to hear much about your history unless you go to an HBCU. And that's another thing too. Like when you go to HBCU, every day you're learning about your people on your campus. Like I go to Morgan. You learn about your people. Like my school, they have like bricks and stuff. Like they have, you know, the buildings named after these amazing historic people and things like that, because their worth and everything they did really put an impact on stuff. Like Coppin, my best friend goes to Coppin. I learned a little bit about them too when I went up there or did some research and stuff on them. Like HBCUs, y'all, when it comes to learning your history too, especially packing in women involved too, they did a lot that packed with their worth, and people will take it for granted, and sometimes people just do not pay attention to stuff. So I just need, if y'all go to HBCU and nobody go to HBCU or whatever, do y'all research and pay attention to the things that they have displayed within, you know, the buildings on their campus, because that's important. It happened at time. That stuff impacts the woman's worth within her worth of making things happen for us. So think about that and look into that. Also, by including Black women's stories and experience into International Women's Month, they have now expanded the reach of a campaign that often ignores or monetize, such as narrating. And when it comes to certain stuff, I've seen too, like certain stuff like people will be negative about, especially like I said, when it comes to us women of color, because they just don't take us serious. They don't believe that we're worth anything. But this when things change. Black women influence individuals all around the world by shaping their stories of, you know, being silent, of being treated like shit, of being, you know, just through the blues, and making nothing out of something. By being so inspiring, they were able to engage in meaningful dialogue and take meaningful action to create a more exclusive society. Women's liberation must be intersected to be truly effective and to be presented and achieved, as we, you know, emphasize on the importance of their in society. Because like I said, when it came to women's worth back then, when it came to women in general, they did not want to hear anything from us. They didn't even want us to vote. It took so long for us to get the rights that we deserve, because this is the things that we wanted. This is our worth, we worth so much. But when you have men involved that don't want you to be anything but just to be their little, you know, puppy or somebody in their corner, it makes things so hard. And I remember in class, that was 2 years ago. I graduated from CCBC this year will make 2 years ago in June. I'll never forget in class we was talking about, you know, how they say it's always, when it comes to power, it's always, you know, a white man you with vision. It's never really a black man. And especially when it comes into office and things like that. Now, I'm not big on politics and stuff like that. But when I thought about it, I was like, you're right, because Also, when we talking about, International Women's Month, a lot of white women also was impacted with it too. And that's the thing too that people fail to realize. Not just white women were involved within the movement of International Women's Month or women's rights and worth. It was also black women. And we don't get to highlight that because every time you think of something, it's always about a white person. But nevertheless, back then, I also noticed as I watched documents and stuff in the class and outside of class that a lot of white men wanted their woman, mainly their white women, to, stay in the back, be in the background. Like, just look pretty, support me, don't say nothing. And that's where the bottom line draw right there. Like, all bets were off. Like, I'm not finna be, the wife or such and stuff. These women wanted to display their worth. These women wanted to express themselves as them, the woman that they are, not just I'm such and such a woman. No, I'm a woman of my own. My name is such and such, and I'm not just known as such and such wife. If that makes sense, because when I was looking, I was like, that makes a lot of sense on why these women fought so hard the way they did, because they did not want to be stuck in the background and have be quiet, because the saying, closed mouths don't get fed. And these women were not staying quiet. They were not staying stagnant no more when it came to their worth and their rights, because they knew for a fact that they were worth a lot, especially, yes, women all around. But I'm focusing on my black women because we don't get recognition for the things that we do. Within the face of their achievements, they didn't get recognized as much. But I'm going to tell you this. In the face of all that, black women was able to display a spirit and grace that transferred and intertwined in a positive way for them, especially when it came to their achievements. Like, their courses and authentic was able to narrate in interesting identity challenges that had happened within social norms and forgetting past of empowerment. They did a lot. Like I said, closed mouths don't get fed. They wasn't with that. And it wasn't going to be labeled as just as a man's wife. Because y'all know the saying too, like, a man's supposed to do everything. A man's the boss man in the household. Nowadays, it's women who's the head of the household half of the time. So their main goal was to do everything they can for each other. They created a sisterhood, basically, that was willing to help each other. When it came to daycare, going back to school, when I mentioned about scholarships, housing, jobs, they were willing to do any and everything for each other because they had to stick together. That's all they had. They were not trying to depend on their husband. Because, that's the thing too. Like, when you get married, they be like, oh, she going to depend on her husband for everything. Not so much. And I feel that way too, because I said, once I get married in the future, yes, I want to get married. I would not depend so much, on my husband, because I feel as though I'm able to stand on my own. Because before, I'm just saying, before I meet anybody, a man period, a dude period, I always say I'm not the type to be like, oh, I want you to spoil me and stuff like that. I mean, that'd be nice, but I'm letting you know now, I'm not the type to be so manipulative, I don't really want to say, but selfish, stingy. I don't want to be like, oh, you gotta spoil me, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. No, I'm always say I'm very independent, so when it comes to people offering me stuff, I'll be like, huh? So it just was I always tell them, even if you are in a relationship or not, I just feel like you have to have some type of sense of independence, because at times, say if you with a person and then it all goes downhill, you got to understand when it comes to us black women, you have to know your worth. You got to know your worth. You got to stand tall and firm on your worth, because that's your worth. This is a woman's worth. Not to Alicia Keys. Y'all better listen to a woman's worth. I wanted to play that so bad, but I don't got time for the copyright and all that. But y'all, if y'all don't know, y'all need to listen to the song. And that's another thing too. That song just kept playing in my head when I was thinking about what I want to say today. And I was like, a woman's worth. Oh my God, the perfect song, and it's International Women's Month. So why not talk about women's worth? Because a lot of people don't. Excuse me, y'all. A lot of people don't talk about this, especially when it comes to African American women. We get the bottom of the barrel, we get the end of the stick. It's like, bro, we are human too. We deserve the same treatment as everybody else is, especially with a white woman. So yeah. So these women came up with the idea of coming together, doing things for each other. Because they was like basically going on strike saying, I'm not depending on no man to help me. Because these men back then were controlling everything. You know, like when they said like for your equal rights, like men was like, oh, abortions. No, you not having no abortion. You're going to keep it and you're going to keep that baby and do what you got to do. But the thing about abortions is, I always said too, is like, it's the woman's choice. Because like some women have been through a lot, and it's like right now it's not the time for it, or they had past experiences like, this ain't for me. Or God forbid, say if something was to happen to a woman in a way she didn't imagine to happen, and she has to, so I just felt like also a man cannot control what a woman can say and do, especially a woman. Let's just say this: a man can't control a woman's worth, and a woman can't control a man's worth. And that's the thing that people fail to realize too. When it comes to your worth, nobody can control that. That's on you, baby. That's all on you. And when I was doing my history back, like learning my history back then, and today I dig a little bit more, and remembering the conversations I had within the class I took. That's what I got out of it. It's just like men were so controlling back then, to the point where it was like I said, they just wanted their wife to support them, be in the background, be like, be my personal cheerleader, but they never wanted them to stand on something for themselves. But around that time, this was like early 19, I want to say 50s, I might be wrong, 40s or 50s, around that time. They weren't having it. That's what they was like, you know what, we can't even vote. We can't even do the basic stuff that a man is doing, because all they thought about was sex. You a woman, you gotta cook, clean, take care of the kids. They didn't even want them to have a good education. And it's so fucked up, because I remember my professor had talked about that, like, how would you feel? I said, I would honestly feel like I'm a nobody. Because if you're just trained to be home with your kids, okay, taking care of your kids, that's like what you're supposed to do. But not having no type of social life, like no outing, like going to school and working is a part of social life, because you're being social with others. Yes, your family, your number one supporter, your number one priority, but sometimes you need to meet other people, you need to socialize. I said I couldn't, because the simple fact that the type of person I am, I like to explore. I've been exploring, I've been the type to explore since I was a little kid. So imagine me being stuck with being in the house 24/7, cooking and cleaning, making sure this is right for my husband. I would have lost my mind, because it make me feel like I'm a prisoner, because all I know is home life. I don't know nothing about outside. It's like, looking at a window, you're inside and you looking outside. It's like, dang. And then you got the outside looking in, which is the men, that's their job, that's their duty. And some women say, they would be a housewife. And I'd be like, kudos to y'all, because I can't. The way that I am, I'm always on my feet a little bit. I'm always stay booked and busy. I just couldn't stay stagnant. Regardless, in the future, I do want children. But I just feel like I couldn't be a housewife, because it's like, I want to get as much education as I can. I want to do as much as I can while I'm young, getting it while I'm young, like my dad say. But I just can't envision myself being a housewife. I just can't, because that gets stressful sometimes. You just home all day. It's like, don't you want to have a social life? Don't you want to do social things, stuff like that? People just didn't realize that. And I feel like men never realize, women's worth is something that you are, if you even a part of that, if you're a part of the worthy, characteristics that she have in her book, bless your heart. Back then, for the Caucasian women, I felt really bad for them, because it was their husbands were so big. And it's like they were just known as, oh, this is such and such wife. They wasn't known as, oh, I am blah, blah, blah. I'm not just blah, blah, blah's wife. And that's where this came into within the National Women's Month. They took a stand. They took an oath. They boycott, rallies, walks, and everything to make it known to the world that they are worth more than being a man's significant other. Or as people would say, priority. Because back then, they didn't have a leg to stand on without their husband or their partner. Well, back then it was husbands, period. Ain't no such thing as boyfriend, girlfriend, like for us, like in the younger generation, or my friend. No, back then you were married. No boyfriend or girlfriend. Like you probably got married a month, 3-4 months, ahead of your time. Like they wasn't really big on no boyfriend and girlfriend. That stage don't last long. Our generation, yeah, cool. But back then, hell no. You're my wife. You're my husband. And there's that. But I applaud the women that took that oath and did the rallies, the protests, and walked and did everything for their freedom to prove a point, especially with black women, because it's like I said, people do not recognize our worth, and it's just so insane because it's like, okay, every time you think of International Women's Month, people always think of white women. No, you gotta think about women as a whole, but you also gotta think of black women too, because they did a very lot that a lot of people didn't see because it was always in the background. Always in the background. And it was just like, wow. This is how we are. This is how we're seen as. They took a stand too. They did what they did too. Like those were the ones that were making money too. They were able to find funds for families, for their people, help get scholarships, help do this, help do that. That's why all the scholarships you hear that's named after a lot of, you say old people, half of them scholarships are named after black people. Think about it. Think about it, baby. You go to HBCU, or those black go to HBCU, and they got a scholarship. Ask them what's the name of their scholarship. I bet you they'll say it's some old name, some older lady, man, or name. But I'm telling you, it's got to be a black person. At a HBCU, of course, is a black person right off the dome. But did you do your history on that person? See, me, I just love exploring and digging deep within my roots, because it's like every time I look on the news, it's like I feel like every day a city is saying, oh, they don't want their kids to know this. They don't want their students to know this, especially when it comes to history. I be like, bro, you need to let these children know about their history, because at times they need to know what's going on. They need to know their worth as well too as a person. You need to know who they are. We just need to mold certain things in our children's head that needs to be stuck to them for life. Like it has to be stuck with them for life. Like there's more to this as well, and I'm getting into it because this one just got. I say it all the time. Like I don't even know if I have a favorite episode. I think everyone's my favorite episode, because like when it comes to topics like this and things involving black women, my black women, and me being a black woman, I feel and sense things more. Especially when it comes to my worth, like my worth and how I am and what I expect and what I don't expect, I stand tall and firm on. A woman's worth is something that you should not play about. Because a black woman, black women are very, very strong. Like there is more to black women than just their individual accomplishments. They're often their families and community love and support, as well as their collective wisdom. In order to realize and honor black women's worth, we must dismantle the opposite system, the oppressive system, and to make their voices and experience heard. Because as we celebrate this relentless and this amazing month, we need to be able to acknowledge and address the injustice that they faced. Women of color deserve respect, recognition, equal for their human, the things that they fought for, their dignity and their rights, just not for the social narrative standards. And as people fail to realize, why it is so important to recognize a black woman. Why are we so important? And why we are who we are. Now, when it comes to women's worth, we talk about the mental side too. In my, I'm trying to pull it up, y'all, because I forgot the questions, and it was just so mind-blowing to me. In my diversity, economics, and diversity, let me find the right name for y'all, because I'll be messing up this name all the time. My diversity and social justice economy class. I had that class Tuesday night. I had them classes Tuesday night. That's where I get my motivation from. Leaving that class just makes me so motivated, y'all. Like, y'all do not understand. So we had watched a podcast that had explained breaking down the mental health, stigma with black women. But the questions that my professor had asked, it was just like, this all impacts with a woman's worth and how we are. And y'all don't, I know you're probably like, is she going to talk about women's mental health? Oh, yes, I am. That's going to be a separate episode, though. Y'all know the drill. So the first question he said was, I'm thinking to say, is black women are at a, intersection of, portrayed in racism? And I think I gotta find my response, because I said so the question was, it was supposed to say, is black women are at the intersection of patriarchy and racism? And I say yes, we black women are at a crossroad between patriarchy and racism because of our race, our gender. We face challenges and experience that continues to this day. These challenges and experience are impacted by disadvantages, and impacted by disadvantages. We need to realize and address these issues to create a more equal society for us. Now, even though it is International Women's Month, and a lot of these women did a lot for us. Till this day, the stuff that we do, the stuff that the generation before us, like our ancestors did for us with our rights, is still not getting recognized in a positive way. It's still not getting the recognition that we need. We're still not being took seriously. There it is. We're not being taken seriously. We're being, I feel like, taken for advantage. It's like, okay, I hear you, but it's not really like I'm hearing you. Then another question he had was, self-worth should not be wrapped up in the ability to struggle. Now, within this question, when it came to worth, I automatically thought of whoa, this is ready to get real technical, because like I said, a woman's worth is important. You gotta really pay attention. You gotta really know how your woman is, or the women that's around you, period. And I said, when it comes down to it, self-worth should not be defined as your ability to fight. Because at times, within a black woman, that stereotype he talked about that too. I'm just give y'all the rundown of everything I said, because it impacts with when it comes to International Black Women's Month. I feel as though it does, because like I said, they didn't get a lot of recognition. And until this day, it's women out here that's fighting, having all these protests and organizations, and still getting the bottom of the stick. Yes, we are able to, vote and have certain things like that, but it's still a struggle. It's still a struggle for us black women, for us black people in general. But right now, we're focusing on black women. It's a struggle. And I said that, for our ability to fight, because at times, it's just so much that we could fight for if nobody is fighting for us or taking our fight as much as we're fighting for. This is something that we're willing to put in the atmosphere, and people are not really willing to help us. And it gets tiring sometimes when you fight and it just don't get recognized. And I said, like, when it comes down to a self-worth should not be defined as your ability to fight. Self-worth has a lot of different labels to it, but a lot of people think of, your fight. You pushing and pulling. Yes, but it's more to it. As black women, we need to realize and value our strengths and weaknesses. And that's the problem when it comes to weaknesses. Sometimes we don't like talking about it. We're so quick to talk about our strength. But at times, I feel like it's hard for me to identify my strength versus in my weakness. I know it sounds crazy, but I'm for real, y'all. And I said, like, fighting is a normal part of life, but it's not what defines your worth as a human being. Our worth is defined by who we are and not our ability to fight. So that's what I was getting deep into. Like, when it comes to us, our worth is defining who we are, what we are, why we stand for who we are, how we do this X, Y, and Z. It's not just because of, I'm a woman. I know my worth. Half of us don't know, and it's okay. We're learning day by day. But I want to let you know, a man is not controlling our worth. Yeah. So another question was, he had said, y'all, resilience is not a strength. Rather, it is a response. And I was like, yes, resilient isn't a power in a traditional sense, rather than it is a response to difficult situations. Now, what is resilience? I said, like, it's capable to overcome adversity. It is the ability to keep going through life changes, and even when it's hard to do, it's something that you can build over time, but it's something that needs to be nurtured. And that's what I feel like within this whole topic of a woman's worth, as well as International Women's Month. That's exactly what these women did. They were resilient to everything that they did. But it isn't just a power. It's like they did things that they were capable to overcome to adversity. Like, it was their ability to keep going through these life challenges. No matter how hard it's time, no matter how many no's they got, they kept going until they got yes. And I feel like at times that's our problem. Sometimes we hear somebody no, take a whole bunch of L's. We just cannot stand it. And it's like, don't stop. Keep going, because you don't know when you're going to hear that. You're going to turn that L to a W. And you're going to turn that no to a yes. So it takes time. And I was like, it's just something, that can build up over time, but it's something that needs to be nurtured. And that's what they did. They kept going. They did a lot of things. They did this, did that. It came nurturing, and it's like, okay, we here. Another question was, resilient is only available because we haven't been exposed to trauma or social inequalities. Now, I said there's like a lot of myths out there saying, like, that resilience comes from trauma or social justice. But the truth is, when we are faced with adversity, we're forced to adapt to what's going on. We have to find ways to deal with it, and that where resilient comes from. But it's important to remember that resilience isn't just for people who have gone through trauma. It is for every black woman. No matter where she's from or what she's been through. And that's what I feel like also impacts with the woman's worth. Resilient is only, it's only available because we have been exposed to trauma or social equality. Not so much. Resilience impacts with a lot of things. And people always think of trauma in inequality issues. They don't dig deeper. And that's why I say I'm glad I found this, because this impacts with us. This would happen years ago. This might impact your grandmama, your great-grandmama, your great-great-grandma, things like that, like great aunties, cousins, all that. Like, they know. And you need to do your research. It's not bad. Do your research. And I'm helping you too. Do some of it. And then the question that stood out to me the most, especially when it packs, like I said, with International Women's Month. Now, y'all know the images that they have when it comes to a woman, period, is a strong woman. They had the woman, she got her arm up, touching her muscles, flexing, things like that. was in the video, what I could remember, well, the podcast, I remember it was one of the ladies, she was I believe she was a therapist. And she was like, some of the stereotypes that impact with a black woman, I just don't feel like at times impact with her, because at times I can't do but so much and I can't live up to it, such as the known stereotype term, is strong black woman. And she used that because she was like, at times, and she also used the example I used within, like, the woman in the picture flexing her arms. Sometimes, like I said, we as black women, I feel like are molded to be strong within any circumstance that's going on. And I felt like also too within International Women's Month impacting the black women, and also black women's worth. At times we cannot always be strong. And I wrote that, I said, when I hear, like, the question was, what are your thoughts on the term strong black woman? And I said, when I hear the term strong black woman, I imagine a black woman who was naturally strong and capable of dealing with whatever life throws at her, which can sometimes lead to forgetting her vulnerability, and need for support. When times get tough, she never gives up because she remains strong. Even at times, she can't always be superwoman. That's another term too. The never picture, you got the black woman with the S on her chest. Sometimes we cannot be superwoman. Sometimes we need somebody to be our superwoman or our superhero, because at times it gets hard. And I also said she can't always be the superwoman. She also keeps the T mentality, keep it T, keep it cute, keep it on the T. Also, when it comes to the term strong black woman, I think of a woman who is human and she is strong in any situation. Because one of the most powerful things a black woman can do is make it within whatever comes her way. This is one of the most powerful qualities a black woman can possibly have regarding her background and life experience. And when it comes to a woman's worth, I say that too, because at times, one of my favorite movies is Meet the Browns, and one of my favorite actors is Angela Bassett. And in the movie, if you didn't watch it, Angela Bassett was a single mother of 3. She lived in the projects, and her lifestyle was not going so good. Like, she had a job but wasn't making much, paycheck to paycheck. One day, the company shut down, so she lost her job. She was already struggling enough because, living the paycheck to paycheck, and you're raising 3 kids on your own. You got an oldest boy, you're trying to, make sure he good in school. They got 2 girls, trying to make sure they good, school, daycare, everything like that. And so it's hard. And I'll never forget that scene within the movie when she was talking to her son because he wanted to help her. But she was telling, you know how moms be staying in school, big focus, I don't want you helping me. And I'll never forget when she was telling him, one thing a black woman can do is make it. And when I heard that, I reflect on my mama. Because, like, I always use my mama as an example because, like, I seen my mama when I was probably, like, started school, like, pre-K kindergarten down there. My mother was going to community college. Getting certifications because she was a nurse. She was I think it was for a CNA. Yeah, CNA. One of them, but I know it was something there. I'll never forget seeing her go to school at night. Work in the day, be a mom in the afternoon, and then go be a student at night. Up until like middle school, mother had a bachelor's, high school master's. And then she's ready to work on something else. And I always looked at my mother. I was like, bro, this is crazy. Because, like, she knew her worth. She knows her worth. Regardless of anything that come her way, she still won't make it. And by her having my dad as support, too, that also, eased some of the pain off of her. But I was like, bro, my mother made it through so much because I said I couldn't imagine raising 3 kids, still trying to have that romantic lifestyle, with your partner, still trying to pay bills, work as much. be a student and still have a social life. And I said, my mama know her worth because she bust her ass, and until this day she's still busting her ass. Like I'm so proud of her, and I look up some of it because that's a lot. It's a lot. And when it comes to a strong black woman, at times, like, you can't be strong, but it's like, I'm strong, but like right now I just don't feel it because you go through things. And one thing, like I said, one thing a black woman know how to do is make it, and they know how to make it. Shout out to all my black women, man. Like, I just love y'all. I love us so much because, like, it's a lot. It's a lot that we go through when it comes to our worth, when it comes to things that people fail to realize that we're worth so much. We're not just worth our bodies. We're not just worth our mindset, baby. We worth more than $1 million in this motherfucking world. And don't you ever motherfucking forget. Like, when it comes to my worth, I know what I want. I know what I am. I know what I stand tall and firm on. And ladies out there, I want y'all to understand, like, know your worth. Know what you want. Know who you are. You know why you do the things you do. Know why you move the way you move. Know why you are. Just know why for everything that comes your way, especially when it comes to your worth, because people are always trying to play on, especially black women, because they be like, oh, y'all don't know y'all worth. Every time I turn around on Instagram, you showing your behind, you showing a body part. You don't know your worth. You don't have no worth. You can't categorize us into every black woman you see. At times, yes, sometimes, it get a little frisky for them, but it's like not every black woman's worth is the same. So, before we end out on that note, I just want y'all to think about that. And man, I know y'all listening too. I want y'all to understand too. If you got a good one in your life, be there for her. And understand why she do what she do, because that's a part of her worth. That's a woman's worth. We do what we do because this is the shit that impacts with our worth, and this impacts with who we are as a woman and as a black woman. Because it's already hard enough for us to be a woman of color, and it's hard for us to get our name out there and do the things that we do. So if you got a good black woman, or you have black women in your family that's worth a lot, and your mama better be number one, please, like, hit them up, say I'm proud of you, like I love you, I appreciate you, show some appreciation, like, don't be afraid, because they need it. Because like I said, at times a woman cannot always be strong. Sometimes this shit is hard, especially if you have single moms out there, moms battling through stuff, women period. It's not easy for us, it's not, but we always make it. One thing a black woman know how to do is make it. And I want y'all to remember that. I want y'all to keep that in your head. I want y'all to keep that in your mind. I want y'all to keep that. Because one thing a black woman know how to do is make it. Regardless of anything that's going on, no matter how good or bad it is, they still will make it in the end. I keep that. And I'm going to keep saying that because it's true. As I got older, I understood what it is. And I'm standing tall and firm on it as well. Because as a black woman, as a young black woman, I know how to make it. I know how to have multiple plans. Plan B, plan C. At times, you don't want to have as many plans, but you never know what can happen. So always keep that in mind. One thing a black woman know how to do is make it. If I got to flip this plan, mix this plan, I'm going to do what I got to do because I'm going to make it. Okay? That's a part of my worth. A real woman's worth. So with that being said, y'all, I wish y'all nothing but the best. This episode was very long, but I'm schooling y'all. I'm teaching y'all. Like I tell y'all all the time, if my podcast don't help a lot of people, long as it helps someone. So with that being said, y'all, happy International Women's Month to all the beautiful women out there, especially my black women. Also, happy National Social Workers Month again to all my social workers out there, especially my black social workers, because baby, it's not easy for us. It's not. And I applaud all of y'all because y'all get into the bag and y'all doing what y'all were set to do. And as always, I wish y'all nothing but the best. I hope y'all have a nice day this Wednesday. Then whenever you guys hear Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, whenever, I hope y'all have a nice day. I hope you have a nice weekend. And as always, please stay safe. Please be careful of your surroundings. Please just stand 10 toes down on yourself and just also have a moment of peace. You know, if you don't feel good, you feel like you're ready to zap out or whatever, have that 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 45, whatever. Mirror conversation with yourself. Call your therapist. You know, do what makes you happy. Because you don't want to lash out. We don't want that. I want y'all to stay positive. Even though at times it's hard. But them bad times don't last forever, okay? With that being said, you guys will hear from me next Wednesday. Bye.